Hello and welcome back. So we are doing our first ever flower petals reading. I'm very excited to get into this message today and allow the wisdom and the spirit and the fragrance of these flowers to enrich us, enrich our minds, enrich our body and our soul with a message that is divinely aligned for where we are right now in our lives. So I'm going to get started. I encourage you to take a deep breath with me. And wherever you are right now, allow yourself to settle into the spirit of endurance is actually what I heard in my mind. The spirit of endurance. Allow yourself to recollect, remember, recollect where you've dropped your energy off this week and regain momentum, because it seems that you are going to need it. I'm hearing that you are on the fast track. You are on the fast track towards your new beginning, but where your spirit is going, you're on the fast track. So I want to get started right away. Excuse me, I might have to sneeze, but I might not. I want to get right started. So looking at this, what I see right here is a clock. What I see right here is a clock, and I see time ticking. But what I also see is, you know, that symbol, it's like the loading symbol, but it's actually more like a reload, redo, not redo, but reload, reconfigure, restart. I'm seeing different symbols that have to do with either starting again, shutting down. Like those are those computer signals that you see when on like old computers, when you wanted to shut them down, there would be like those three options. And there's like a restart, there's a shutdown. I'm seeing like the restart. I'm seeing the restart symbol here. And I can feel like time moving. It feels like time has accelerated. You know that point in the movie where it becomes like a montage, and it feels like everything happens really quickly, and there's just like scene after scene, and everything is sped up. And it seems like there's been like an obsession with that kind of energy lately, of like sped up energy, because when you look at the music that we're listening to, people like the sped up version. And I remember a time when like the slow and the reverb was the popular remix to a song, but now like the sped up version is a popular fragrance smell. And I feel like an energy here of things having moved very quickly. But it's not a whirlwind type of energy where things are moving just chaotically without order. It seems that there's a divine intelligence to the way that things have been moved, to the way that things have progressed. And where things end up as like the speed up ends and you get back to a normal pace, it seems that you end up in this restart, in this new beginning. You have been accelerated into this new beginning. And I feel a pattern of breaking away. I feel a pattern of breaking away. Here in the center, I see like the cycle. I see the cycle of things. And it feels like, especially right here in the center, it feels like this is like this is like the control center. This is the machine center. And it's deciding, where you go and what happens from here. And I feel this levity or this brevity. I feel something shifting, something moving. There's like a vibrating energy to this. And it could even be that the system is beginning to break. It could even be that the system is beginning to break, and what you are entering into now is, that's interesting. In my head, I said a mistake or a mishap. A mistake or a mishap. So it could be that you've broken the system and found a gateway or an entryway that shouldn't technically, quote unquote, shouldn't have been made available to you. But there is something that you were able to, I don't know, it doesn't maybe feel like there's something you did. It could be that this was the divine, that there was a divine intelligence at play that kind of helped crack the system or break the system a little bit. But there is definitely a newfound awareness, but also like, I don't know, there's something about like breaking away from the herd and from the hurdles, and mapping out a new path. Mapping out a new path. It's interesting. And there's something about like your antennas are up, you know, like you're listening and you're hearing, and it feels like you are very reactive at this time, and so is your spirit. So is your spirit, and then so is your life. What I'm feeling right now is like the energy of popcorn. You know, popcorn kernels? Popcorn kernels, when they're like, when they are in the microwave and they're like beginning to pop. That's the energy. Oh, there it is. Thank you, excuse me. When popcorn kernels are beginning to pop in the microwave, and you're seeing like the bag really begin to explode or expand, and you're seeing them jump, like I feel like there's a really reactive energy in the air, and like it's a combination, it's the result of many things happening at once. You know, I think that there's like a chemical reaction happening here, and I think it's partially due to what the divine has done. Like there is some type of intervention, there's something they sprinkled in here. Sorry. Something they made available to you that you jumped on and reacted to. It's like spirit dangled something in your energy or put something in front of your face and you reacted to it. And so there's like a supercharged energy on your part because you were able to recognize that there was something that needed to be reacted to, and there was something you were able to recognize what spirit put in front of your face and were able to have a reaction. But then there is this divine intervention in the sense of spirit choosing to put this in front of you. And so, yeah, your reaction is creating this expansion, this very quick expansion, like the popping of popcorn, this very quick expansion into this new form. I think that it's like a sense of metamorphosis, but I feel that you are developing at a quicker pace or at a faster pace than normal or than likely. So whatever is happening here is unlikely. Not unlikely in the sense that it's unlikely to happen, but in the sense that it was unlikely to have happened, at least at the pace in which it's happening. It was not predicted. You know, this wasn't the common prediction that things would happen this way. This was not the common prediction. So you are living on a bit of an outlier timeline. You're living on a bit of an outlier timeline, which is interesting because when it comes to outlier timelines, everything is not as fixed or created. It's a little bit more disheveled in the outlier timelines because there's not a lot of energy and thought process being put there because it wasn't being considered as much as the ones that are more predictable, more probable, more likely. So because you've made it to this outlier one, it's a little apocalyptic in the sense that there's a lot of like volcanic ash. There's a lot of volcanic ash. You know how volcanic ash is extremely fertile, and it's really, really good for soil, and it can help create lush, like new green plant life and really, really enrich the earth. But it comes out of destruction, and it's black, and it looks like there's a bunch of destruction around, and but it's deceptive because it's really really fruitful energy. And that's what this is kind of like. Outlier timelines have so much potential. They're like begging to be engaged because, they're not being considered as much. So there's so much room, and there's a lot of undecided energy in outlier timelines, which means there's a lot of free will possible for you at this time. And everything is kind of your own doing. Everything is of your own creation. So you can kind of really decide how things end up. You can decide how things go, which is not the typical situation. With timelines, it's like you're in a new timeline, now you're doing this, and there's a storyline to that timeline. But with this situation, because you're in one that's not as rehearsed, not as well known, because it just wasn't really predicted. And I think that this is catching your spirit guides off guard a little bit. It could have caught your spirit guides off guard a little bit because like this is not the one they rehearsed the most for, because it wasn't predicted. It wasn't predicted that this would be what you ended up doing as much. You had something else that was more predictable, that seemed more in line with your nature, that you were more likely to do, more likely to end up following this path, more likely to end up doing this a little bit longer. This could be a lot of different things, but yeah, there's this energy of that. When I'm looking at this rainbow, I'm thinking of queerness. So there could be an expectation of who you would end up with, and now there's a change. This could be about self-expression. Just the rainbow, it's not always a given that you will get the rainbow at the end of a storm shower. It's just something we hope for, but it's not always true that you get the rainbow. But it seems as though you've gotten the rainbow. You've gotten access to that thing that wasn't likely. It's like, how like in each timeline, there's like a gift available. In each timeline, there's a gift, there's a blessing available, there's something that you can get. But different timelines hold different realities in terms of how accessible that really is, how realistic it really is that you will receive this blessing, that you will receive this opportunity, that you will receive this miracle. Different timelines have different levels of like realistic expectation, realistic expectation versus, not so realistic, more dreamy, more elusive, less easily attained. And this was one of those situations where whatever blessing or gift that you've received, which it feels like is a move or a shift, some type of timeline jump, it was not likely, it just wasn't likely. It just was, and that's not like a do or die thing. Like if you hadn't received this, your life wouldn't be worse off or anything like that. It just wasn't likely that this would happen or that this would unfurl in the way that it did or something like that. This was one of those blessings or gifts where it was like, it's debatable whether you should have even been made aware of it, because it was one of those ones that's hard to get, And I think it's one of those things that's available because it's available to many people. One of the reasons why it's more difficult to get is because it's something that's, it's just kind of out there in the wild. It's like a piece of gold. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a gift that's been crafted for you. Oh, sorry. It's probably because I'm working with these flowers. It's not like a gift that's been crafted specifically for you. And even that, like even me having such big reactions, I think part of the reason why this was so unpredictable and so unlikely is also probably because this is a wild miracle. So there are miracles that are like manufactured or created. Like there are miracles that are created by spirit, created by your spirit team, created by you and the work you do. So like man-made miracles or like spirit-made miracles, right? And then there's earth magic. And earth magic, and I'm not saying that this is a specific situation for this, like this is earth magic, what's happening here. I'm just giving an example. So there's like the man-made or like the spirit-made, your spirit guides make you a miracle and they place it in your environment. And then there's wild magic, wild miracles. And those are things that just kind of happen, right? Like gold being found underground, like that gold just happened as a reaction to many different things. Remember we were talking about that chemical reaction, like okay, something happens under the earth and blah blah blah, and boom, you've got natural wild gold, right? So what this is a wild miracle. That means that it was not created for anyone specifically. It was just born. It just exists in nature. It just exists in the reality. And it doesn't have your name on it, right? It's not yours. It could go to anyone. It could go to anyone. And those miracles it could go to anyone or it could go to no one, right? It's not destined. There's no destiny with wild miracles. There's no fate with wild miracles with wild magic. It just is. It's just there, right? You find it or you don't. It's like chance, it's luck, it's timing, it's blah, blah, blah. It's a bunch of things. And the reason why this energy is interesting and a little tricky is because it seems to be a mix, because I do sense divine intervention here, which is funny because I think that spirit went over your spirit guides. Like there's a bit of the energy of spirit going out of their way to kind of like, push you or probe you or something. But this is a collaborative effort to come across this wild magic, this wild miracle. But yeah, you've come across this, and it's the reason why wild miracles are so unlikely and so and less predicted, less received, is because anyone can find them, because it doesn't have your name on it. So there's not really a like intuitive hint in terms of like your spirit guides being able to be like, go here, do this, Sometimes spirit guides don't even know where the wild miracles are because that's out of their realm. That's not their realm, Wild miracles they belong to a different realm. That's like earth energy. Maybe it is earth magic. Yeah, that's like a different kind of energy. It doesn't have that's not their territory, but you've stumbled upon this, and it's miraculous that you've stumbled upon this because so much had to go right. You had to make every single right turn. Your timing had to be immaculate, incredible, and you had to be very open. And then wild miracles also don't scream miracle, right? Because it's wild, it's just nature. So it looks different for every single version. There's no like smell or scent that lets you know this is a miracle, that this is a blessing, this is a gift. You just kind of have to see that. You have to have an eye for it. And really there's like an intelligence in terms of like your surroundings being able to resonate with the miracle in order to recognize, oh, this is something I should pick up, because, imagine all the people who have seen gold and not thought anything of it, or seen silver, seen things that are, have colors that we already see very often and not thought anything of it. And meanwhile, that's a miracle, that's a thing, that's something very valuable. So a lot had to go right in order for you to have found this, which is why this was such an unpredictable timeline. And it was also a hidden timeline now that I'm thinking about it, because if your spirit guides didn't know about it, there was no preparation for this. So things are kind of happening as you go. Like the story is being made up as you go, because you were just kind of being left on your own to like walk around and do your thing in this new environment that you were in. And it's like, I think without preparation and without realizing it and without expecting it, you kind of moved out of one timeline into another one really quickly, faster than you were supposed to, and faster than your spirit guides even thought this timeline was going to be over, into this new one, because you stumbled across this thing and it engaged you. I mean, and you engaged it because you were intrigued by it for some reason. I don't know what it was about it, but you resonated with it. And so you picked it and you went with it while you were off doing your own thing, while your spirit guides were busy working on your journey, working on your fate, working on your destiny. Like, this is something that happened while you were just doing whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's times in our spirituality where, there's times in our life where we are really on a path and really doing something. And there's times where we're just kind of whatever, you know, because spirit's working alone, or your spirit guides are busy doing something. So you're just kind of living life. And this is one of those things where you were just kind of living life, and you stumbled across this thing, and you stumbled across a wild miracle. And wild miracles are powerful because you're working with an energy that's greater than just you and your soul and your spirit guides. You know, you're working with an energy that is fantastical. I'm thinking of earth magic. It's different. You know, we don't know a lot about earth magic, to be honest. That's a magic that, like, you know, the great deep ancestors maybe knew a little bit more about, but we don't know so much about the earth. And so in terms of her magic, there's a lot that we don't know. A lot of the magic that we have here on earth is brought from the spirit realms. And of course, earth is a spiritual being, but she's her own like entity, and it's just different. The magic that she has is different. And we apply a lot of like spirit magic to earth and sometimes call that earth magic, but that's not earth magic. Earth magic is unique, it's specific, and yeah, you've stumbled across earth magic, a wild creation, a wild miracle, which, you know, it's unpredictable. It's unpredictable. You really don't know what it's going to create, what it festers, what it fosters. But you're engaging with it. And it's a little tricky. I think there's nerves. I think there's a little bit of a nervous energy on all parts because you're engaging with this, you know, and because they don't really know what is to come from this. There could be some nerves from your spirit guides, which is actually pretty funny. And you could even have a little bit of a nervous energy, though I don't sense a whole lot of nerves. But it's just because, you know, we don't know this energy that well. We don't know this kind of magic that well. There's not a whole lot of people that study wild miracles. You know, we have a lot of, you know, stories about miracles that are connected to religion and to Christ consciousness and to these different spiritual faiths. But earth magic miracles, I don't really hear a lot about. Wild magic, miracles, I don't hear a lot about. So it's very much so untouched land, untouched territory, which is cool, which is really cool and interesting. And definitely you're going to learn a lot. There's a little bit of like star seed energy here, just in the sense that it's unknown, it's tricky, it's cool, it's strange, it's bewildering. It's like a lot, it's different. It's definitely different. But yeah. I don't know why all these words are coming to mind. The word tormented came to my mind, but not in a bad way. Torrented. Torrent is like when you like steal, like you download something illegally, right? Like it's a torrented file, it's illegally downloaded. You find something. Yeah, it's like what you could have done could totally be like technically spiritually illegal, which is so funny. Like you could have done something spiritually illegal, which you wouldn't, I don't think you would really know that. But yeah, like, and I don't think it wasn't malicious. Like you just found this. You just found this. And I will say, if you were able to find something this interesting and unique in the spirit realm, you must have a gift for it. You've got a little bit of a detective, like, or a detecting spirit, you know, to be able to stumble across something like this. Because it's a rare find. It's a rare find, which is which is making me think that you might, like your spirit, your spirit might be like on watch, you know? because it's like, how the fuck did you find this? And with the rareness of it, you know how like museums require you, like if you like find something really cool in like a river and like it's old and ancient, sometimes they'll be like, you have to give this to this museum, or you have to give this to like this archivist library. Like it's kind of giving that kind of energy where like the Akasha is kind of like, wait, like we don't know anything about this, like this is really precious, this is really rare, we would like to, you know, can we have this? Can we have your miracle? Can we have your miracle, because we would like to study this? And I think you're saying no. To be completely honest, I think you're saying no. And I think the no is coming through you just simply diving further into this rather than relinquishing. Because with all of the unpredictable energy around it and with all the things around it, it could be one of those situations where you're like, you know, there's a little bit of hesitancy, and, you know, it could easily blow away with the wind. There's a lot that could get in the way. There's a lot of, you know, things to consider when it comes to this. But I feel like the Akasha is like, they might be sending little things here, sending little signals your way just to kind of try and get this away from you. Just to try and, you know, see if you're willing to give this up a little bit. And it's not a malicious energy at all. It's just kind of seeing like, are you willing to give us your miracle? Can we have this miracle? Because we've never seen a wild miracle before, or we've never engaged with this kind of wild miracle before, and it'd be really great to study this. I would say to leverage your opportunity. Like you might, because I don't get a malicious energy here from the Akasha. It's funny that you're being engaged with such powerful energies, and it really might not feel like that, because it feels pretty chill, just like a wind on your back or something like that. But like what I'm thinking is like leverage it, you know, if they want to have this miracle, to study it, to understand it more, say like, I'll be the researcher, I'll be the studier, I'll be the archivist, and I'll send you my findings, or we can work together. Don't give up this miracle, because wild miracles aren't just meant to be studied. Like it's a wild miracle. Experience it, you know? It's for you. You found it. It's hidden treasure. That's really freaking cool. And like, it should be engaged with. You are human. Like, that's the thing. Like, wild miracles are earth magic from what I'm sensing, what I'm picking up on. And you're human. So you are of the earth. You are earth magic. You are part earth magic. You know, we talk about the soul and the spirit a lot, which is of the spiritual realm, which needs a different name because everything is spiritual. But we talk about that, and it feels like we're talking about, you know, everything. But earth is its own realm, and you are like half earth, you know, maybe even more earth than you are spirit. And so like, this is partially like your thing. Like this is for you. This is your inheritance. This is your natural inheritance. You know, we inherit the earth when we are born here. And this is our home. So these wild miracles are yours to freely engage with. And if you find it, like that's yours, you know, the spirit realm, it's like a favor. If you want to let them have this and study this and see this and understand it, you don't have to. So remember that, you know, you have a right to this. This is yours. This is yours naturally, because you are human. You know, this is what the earth, one of the blessings and the gifts that earth has for us as her babies. This is one of her things that she gives us, these wild forms of magic, and really cool. So yeah, you should be the one to study it. You should be the one to engage it. It's your legacy. It's your tradition. It's your nature. I think that's really important to remember, because the Akasha is coming from a different perspective. They don't understand it inherently. They're not of the earth. You are. So you should be the one to interpret what this miracle is, what this means. You should be the one to do the research. You should be the one leading this. So make sure you're entering this experience from that perspective. This is yours to engage with freely, and it's exciting. It's really exciting, and it's really, really cool. And it could expand pretty quickly. You know, like you could see it at first and just not really know what's going on, or but you're just engaged, you're intrigued, you're locked in, you're paying attention, whatever. And then pretty quickly, you know, the answers could just come bubbling out. It's like with popcorn, you know, it starts small and then it really starts popping. And once it starts popping, it's like, you know, there's no going back. Once you're on this path, there's no going back. And maybe that's the thing with wild miracles. It's also unpredictable and makes people nervous about it. And one of its unique traits is that it opens a door and then you walk through, and after like a certain amount of steps, like after like 7 to 9 paces, it's like that door is shut. And not only is the door shut, but it's gone. The door has disappeared. So like when you walk into a wild miracle, you can never go back. And so there is a permanence here, and there's a change and a shift in your legacy. And I feel that you have accepted this miracle, I imagine, because of where we are in this conversation. And so you are in a new space and you will never be able to return to where you came from. And that is perhaps troubling and scary to your spirit guides and the spirits that are meant to watch over you, because it's like, oh my God, well, you know, we don't we don't know this place. We don't know this terrain. How do we protect you? How do we care for you? But I think that this is the time for you to remind yourself that, like I said before, you are partially of the earth. You are partial earth magic. You are a lot of earth. And this is your home. Just the same way that the spiritual paths and the spiritual destinies and the spiritual fates are your home, this is your home too. This is your home too. And this is affirming too. And this is safe for you too. This is where you're from. It's like people returning to their ancestral land, you know, after being away for thousands of years. It's like, yeah, you've been gone for a long time and you don't really know this space anymore, but it's your blood. So like ultimately you do know it. You know it deep down in your bones. You know it deep down in your veins. This is ancestral for you. This is historic for you. And that's what I'm getting here. So it's like, I don't feel a fear on your part, a worry on your part, but there just is like this unpredictable nature. I will also say, like, wild magic and wild miracles seem to be quite powerful, because it might have manifested, because like there's this festering energy, right? And this like taking over energy. It might have changed your fate. It might have changed your fate and your destiny. And not just a little bit, like I think a lot of it, because this energy of like you're not able to go back means that all of the predictable timelines and the energy that you were supposed to follow during this lifetime seems to now be out of play, because there's no doorway back there. There's no entryway back there. So like, I don't know what to say, because it's kind of like whatever plans you had, or like whatever you thought was going to happen, whatever you thought you were going to do, it's kind of like that isn't going to happen anymore, or that can't happen anymore. I don't know. There's a change. There's definitely a change. It doesn't mean that your dreams can't come true or whatever. It's just an energy of like, it's definitely going to be different. It's definitely going to be different because it's being perceived through the earth realm rather than the spirit realm, which is, that's so unique, because I don't think that happens very often. So I totally understand like the nervousness around it, but it's like you've already engaged it. So you're here now. You're here now, and now you just kind of need to figure out, well, I don't know if there's anything to figure out. You've just kind of got to live and see where it takes you, because you're separated from the pack, and like it is what it is now. Things are different now, and yeah, the old stories and the old ideas, they just won't work. That door has disappeared. It's like you shut the door and then like literally the door disappeared. There's no going back. And I just don't know how predicted this was. I really think it was a super unlikely timeline, like a super unlikely timeline. And so, yeah, there's certain things about your nature that are going to be perceived that otherwise might not have. That's the other part. There might be parts of you waking up that really were not going to be engaged super heavily in this timeline, or in this lifetime, or in this timeline, because because that's just not like the energy you were going to be working with more so within this life. But because you're engaging with wild magic, it might tap into a part of you that, you know, was kind of dormant. And so now that's waking up. Like there's just a lot that could happen here. There's a lot that could happen here. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of magic, and the fabric is being like woven together as we speak. So it's exciting, and I don't think there's much in terms of like what to do, because you don't know anything about this. So like, I don't know what you can do. You just kind of are gonna just be living, right? And I guess things will just happen as they happen. Things will just come as they come. So yeah, you're in for a nice little ride. The ride of your life, perhaps. I imagine. I mean, you're definitely doing something different. It's so funny. I wonder how this actually manifests in like real life, what this looks like, what this feels like. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, right now we're talking in super flagrant terms, very elusive terms. But in terms of like real life, I do wonder. Hold on, let me get my cards and see. Hold on. Let me get my goddess deck. Oh my god. Whoa. Okay, so I wanted to see. But like the thing that we're not acknowledging about this is that there is definitely a spiritual intervention part to this. So Spirit wanted you to get into this experience. Spirit was looking at all the timelines that you and your spirit guides had set out, and they were like, actually, I want her to go down this path. I want them to go down this path. And so they intervened. Devotion. We've got Parvati here with devotion. Yeah, they were like, we want to intervene. This could have happened like a month or two ago. We have the future here. As a certain number was being introduced to you a lot, being engaged with a lot. So you have Parvati with devotion, 47 and 42. What else do we have here? I'm gonna shuffle everything like, oh. Okay, momentum, making waves, the ripple effect, part of something bigger, deep sea diving, way of the mystic, learning through experience, depths. Okay. Then, what do we have here? Yeah, I really do feel that Akasha energy. It might even be because Spirit sees you for a certain like job or position, or I don't know. They just see like a potential, I guess, is what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. Okay, put that here. What was this? Dance with life. Interesting. Okay. And what's this one? I can already tell you because I'm already triggered. Oh. Sacred plan. Sacred plan to me reads as secret. Secret plan. Holy love. Surrender. So I'll tell you what was triggering me, because we have this card, mirror. What is triggering you? And then we have dance with life and take a break, a life's work not a season, get off the treadmill. And to me, both of these cards are triggering because usually when I see them, I see it as like an energy of like stop, relax. It's like the same as like the take a step back card. You know, like stop, relax, you know, chill. You know what I mean? And that to me is reading as the Akasha. That's to me is like what the Akasha is trying to do, you know? It's this energy of like, you don't need to engage this. We'll take this off your hands. You go focus on your path. You go focus on your plan. And I just feel that there could be a lot of like moon energy being sent your way, or your emotions could be played with a lot. And I don't find this to be malicious. I just think that it's a method, you know, it's a way that they're trying to get their hands on this miracle to work with it a little bit more and kind of get you out the picture and like let you focus on your own thing again. And there could even be like this sweet surrender kind of promise being activated in your life that could like fast track you towards a certain timeline that is, you know, dreamy and like, oh, here, we'll take you here. We'll drop you off here. You know, we're not just going to leave you stranded in this new place. You can go over here. And we'll take this, you know, you can do this, you can have this in exchange for this. But I just don't trust it. You know, I don't trust it. I don't think that now is the time to relax away from this and focus on something else. I think you've actually stumbled across something pretty cool. And I think that there could be a timeline being put in front of your face right now that could be tricky because it could show you a future, a reflection that you want, you know, that you desire. Because even though you've walked through this doorway and so like that life is gone, the life that you had before, it doesn't mean that you are gone. You know, you came as your full self. You still have your old dreams. You still have these old desires. You still have everything that you had before. So you're not free of that. So you could be having something dangled in front of your face that looks like you, that feels like you, that is you in a different timeline. Not engaging with this miracle anymore, just kind of going back a little bit to like same old, going back to the old life or to the life that you've always lived, going back, and, you know, returning to something that you really know, returning to that a form of spirit, you know, returning to a form of spirit, returning to, you know, the plan, what you were supposed to do. Because, you know, like earth magic, wild magic, it has its ways, but, you know, the Akasha and other forms of spiritual magic also have the ability to intercede, interject. Somebody look up what limes represent. But I feel like it's sour. You know what I mean? Like it's not sweet. It looks sweet. It looks like it's trying to bring you something that you've always wanted, but it's sour. And I think the reason why it's sour is because you can't close your eyes once you've opened them. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unexperience what you've experienced now. And like, there's something new here now, you know, and you're being transformed. And it's like, whatever you wanted before, like, yeah, but also like, no, you know, no, it's not all that it's being chalked up to be. And so I actually think that these cards, like, I understand what they're trying to get across, and I'm not judging the Akasha because I actually completely understand why they would want to take this off your hands and study it from like a researcher perspective. I totally get it. And just from like a protective perspective, because humans are unpredictable, and we don't know what this earth magic is. We don't know what this earth miracle is. You could fuck it up. And then it could be really important to study, you know, whatever. So I get it. I get why they want this. I get why they want to take it off your hands, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So I don't think you should be encouraged to relax and take a break and let this thing go. I think you should be encouraged to dive deeper into this because there's obviously something here There's obviously something here. You know, I get it, Akasha, but I'm sorry, no. Dance with life. Do something to change your energy. No. 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 Yeah, like, no. That is so funny. I literally just feel like no. Like, no. That's what I feel. I feel no. I see this and I'm just like, no. And I like, there's a different way I can interpret this. Like, it might be that like one of your spiritual practices, like for me, dancing is a way that I'm able to visualize very strongly, and I can get like ideas from dancing. So that could be what this is talking about. Do one of your spiritual rituals or your practice and you might gain more information. But in terms of letting go, nah. Nah, nah, nah. And that's interesting because I'm like, this deck has a specific voice. This deck has a specific voice. Yeah. And you might need stronger boundaries. I find it funny because, like I said, it's not malicious, but this is what I think this miracle has done. I think what the earth magic has done for you is it has put you on an equal footing. It has put you on equal ground with these energies that we consider so high up and so powerful, like the Akasha. You know, now here I am, not even debating, but more so like the Akasha is like negotiating with me. And I'm like, no, I'm not interested. We're not interested. Nah. And like, when have humans ever been able to do that before? You know what I mean? I have been wanting for a long time for human beings, for like a few years now, for human beings to have a place on earth where they could go and talk specifically to the spirit realm and debate and like counsel with them about issues that they're having. And I feel like what this earth miracle, what this wild miracle, what this earth magic is like, it's a leveling up, it's a portal in some way that puts you on equal grounding, perhaps because of what you have, because of what it gives you, because of what it provides, because of what it stands for, because of what it holds. I don't know. But like, there's an access now to discussion. And it's not like from a position of always being told what to do, or being told that you need to do this or fix this or heal this or whatever. It's a real conversation. Suddenly, like, we're having a conversation rather than you just being directed and guided. There's a conversation. You're in contact. You're in touch with these spirits, with these energies, and you have your own perspective. You're not just listening. You've also got something to say. You have a perspective. You have choices. And you have something to offer that they want. That's what this has opened up. It's a form of power that it's not abusive, it's liberating. And it's igniting. It's igniting. It like starts the ignition. It starts the ignition. There's something clarifying about this. Like, your position has changed. Your position has changed like overnight, seemingly. Your position has changed because I'm just getting a different energy here. It's like, and what you've always gone to seek information, to seek help, now you're just going because they've called on you to have a conversation because they would like it's just a different kind of energy. You're being approached differently. You're being approached as an equal rather than as a child. You know what I mean? It's different. It's different. It's pretty cool, to be honest. It's pretty interesting. Because yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I think a few other humans have probably done this. This is cool. This is very, very cool. Opportunity and change. I think you've changed. I think you've literally changed. Yeah, and like it's a different energy because it's like going from being devoted to something to like now you're like this thing's partner, coworker, colleague. Like you're not looking up to them, you're standing beside them, having conversations about things, making decisions together, having your own opinion. It's just a totally different position. It's like being a fan of this CEO versus being on the same level as the CEO and having conversations together. You know, you're different. It's a different vibe. It's a different world from that perspective, and there's a leveling up. It's almost like you've become like an earth guardian or like someone who like holds one of the reins of earth. Like what this earth magic, this wild miracle could have done is it could have brought into your existence an ability, like it could have knighted you. So like you become a protector of the earth in like a way, and like so you represent the earth in conversations about within like greater spiritual conversations, greater universal conversations. Like you are a representative for the earth. You know, it's like whoever finds this wild magic gets to become like blah, 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 blah. And you found it. And so now they have to ask you questions. They have to blah, 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 blah. And the Akasha might want this. One, because if the Akasha has access to this, they can make this somebody's destiny, right? They can make this somebody's destiny rather than leaving this up to chance. This was left up to chance, and so you found it. And it could be one of those things where it's like the Akasha could have actually been waiting a very long time to find this wild miracle, find this earth magic, because it might need representatives for earth in a universal context. And so as it's filing in timelines and filing in like destinies and fates for different incarnating beings that will come down here in different souls, it could have been waiting to be able to give this type of fate to somebody, because it, you know, the Akasha is part of like what helps deliver like the way things will go for your lifetime and for like the lives, for the timelines of all like souls and things like that. So the Akasha could have been waiting. So when you found this, it was like it probably got a signal that it's been found, because I think it knows about like updates to lifetimes, and of course you are a soul, so your lifetime was being dinged, and like I think it's now like, oh, whoa, you know, because for you to be put in this position, first of all, you had a fate already, you had a destiny already. Not everybody needs to fulfill their destiny and their fate in fullness, but I think most people probably get generally to that point where they accomplish most of it, enough to like have it ticked off. But like your fate is like left in the wind because you've entered this new prospect. And I do think that whatever this is, it must be like it must be a position or something like that, where you have a new focus. And I think the Akasha is probably like, well, I wonder if we can have this, and then we can decide where this will go, what soul this will go to, who this will go to. I don't think you should be offended, because I don't think it's one of those things where it's like you're not good enough. But I do think it's a matter of control and power. And it's like if we can, you know, decide, then it'll just be better for the order of things. It just makes more sense. But I think that you're not having it. And I also think, funnily enough, I don't think Spirit's having it, or else I don't, because I do think it wasn't totally by chance. It was quite random, but it also wasn't totally by chance. There's definitely divine intervention here. It just feels like Spirit was acting alone. It feels like Spirit went rogue, did something to get you here. And it's probably because you've thought about it a few times. You must be somebody who has showed interest in this kind of thing, you know? And so Spirit was like, well, I mean, it does exist. I mean, you can't have it if you want it, you know? And so I think Spirits went to go see if you wanted it. You must have been in the area. You must have been in the general vicinity of this wild miracle. You must have been in the environment. Like if it's in a specific jungle, you must have been in that jungle. And Spirit was like, oh, well, shit, you're just like a few paces off. If you just go a few steps this way, you'll be like right on top of it. And maybe you can find it and then like, shit, we can access this new rare timeline. Cool. And so I think spirit kind of experimented a little bit with your life and diverted you a little bit, and you went a different direction and you found this thing and you picked it up and you kept it. And so now like everything's changed because of that. And so there's a little bit of a chaotic energy from the rest of the spirit realm, because I don't think spirit informed anyone that they were doing this. I think it just kind of happened. And I'm not getting a super serious energy from spirit either. It's kind of feeling playful, like they were just kind of fucking around and then like they found out about you. And so I think it's kind of cool, but it's definitely waking something up. I definitely think you're entering into a new realm within your spirituality because of this, which is cool, it's pretty cool. I think you could be an earth guardian. I think you could be becoming an earth guardian or something, because I'm just like, I don't know, there's something interesting here. There's something really interesting here. And I think the Akasha is like, okay, because now they have to work with you rather than like, I don't think that's something that they're even used to. You know, that's a total change to the system, the way the system functions. And then to work with you from and you having an incarnating being perspective is also totally different and not what they're used to. So like there's a lot that this would shift, that this is going to shift, because it seems that you have taken this position on kind of like gladly. I definitely think this is connected to the earth, to nature, and it's a form of leadership. Yeah, there's some type of allowance that you have. You've been given time. You've been given a lot of freedom because you are about to enter into a space where you need to be devoted to just like knowing and understanding earth energies. So like your life is being cleared. Because of that, like now a lot has to move out of your way. A lot of boundaries have to become non-existent. Like the mountain has to go away. You know, all of these boundaries have to get out of your way because you've got like a clearance pass. You have like a clearance pass. And so it's like all these perceptions have to be real now. All these things have to be clear now. Certain things aren't allowed to be elusive to you the way they were before. Like you've been given access. You've been given clearance. So like so much has to open up to you now that wouldn't have had to before. Which is really cool. It's so funny because I was literally like, I got these cards so that we could see like the real life implications. I think in your real life, it's interesting. I don't know how this manifests in your real life. I have like an obvious perspective, but I'm not sure. I think a lot could be happening. Yeah, respect. I think you could be gaining a lot of respect, more reverence, being taken more seriously. Yeah, you could just have a lot more self-respect. Things are different now. Embrace transformation, metamorphosis. Things are different now. I just think you're bigger than whatever the barriers and the boundaries were before. I just don't think they're real anymore. Like, you're beyond it. You're beyond the vision. You're beyond the illusion. You know, they sold a certain story, a certain illusion to us. And I think you're being given clearance to see beyond that, which is cool as hell. So yeah, tell me what you find. It's also time to like, this is a great position to be in terms of making decisions and figuring out what you think is best for the earth. You're going to need to figure out what people really need and what the earth really needs, and then you can go advocate for that. But I guess now would be a good time to do some research because you've got access to a certain position. Yeah, I think you're going to be treated with respect. Which, like, I mean, I would have hoped that you would have been treated with respect before, but you know, power grants respect sometimes. That's just the way it is. Yeah, I think that's kind of it for this reading. I don't have anything else to say. Things have changed. Things are different now. Thank you, flowers. Y'all brought that shit through. For real. And my nose is acting up because it's definitely I'm having allergies right now, but I'm happy because this is cool. So yeah, if there's anything else to say, I guess I'll be back. But for now, I think I'm done. So yeah, this is cool. I guess keep vibing and living your life. And I imagine things will come together as they should. You're on a greater timeline than you were before. So yeah, okay, bye.